Hello and welcome to The Digital Insight, the technology, procurement and supply chain podcast that delivers valuable C-level perspective into the core issues surrounding business transformation and digital disruption. Each episode will bring you the most inspiring executive insights from those who are leading transformation strategies within the world's biggest and best-known companies. The Digital Insight. Disrupt, transform, evolve.
As a market leader in a world of continuous change and technological innovation, what more could you be doing to embrace true digital disruption and deliver on the promise of tomorrow to an ever-evolving customer base? I'm Dale Benton, and this is the Digital Insight Podcast. Joining me today is Amanda Heintz, who works with the Devops and IT automation release teams at Schneider. While Schneider defines and constantly redefines the transportation and logistics industry, particularly trucking, let's address the elephant in the room. Despite the digital disruption of global industry, transportation, logistics and trucking is still believed to be lagging behind, held back by legacy infrastructure and an antiquated operating model that's playing catch-up with other industry spaces. So the question then becomes, why?
Yeah, so I think like many other industries, transportation and logistics is currently confronting immense change as digitalization takes hold and customer expectations evolve. So those digital solutions, innovations, and technology are really of high importance. And for our industry specifically, there's really a lot of opportunity to reshape strategies and models of conducting business to stay competitive. So while the potential is huge, I think the industry has been slow to seize the opportunity due to lack of digital culture, investment requirements, or even that clear vision supported by the right talent. My perception is that maturity level across the transportation and logistics industry really varies from high to low. So you've got those new startup organizations that have advantages over others who may have been in the industry for years and have a lot of that so-called baggage, or even if you look at size too. So large organizations have a lot more resources than some of those smaller mom and pop carriers. I think regulations add another layer of complexity to an already complex environment, especially within our industry. So I do feel that the transportation and logistic industry is lagging behind others, or another way to say it is maybe slow to change, but it's improving. And I think the reason why is that it can feel like that daunting task, especially when you look across that whole supply chain in developing a digital transformation strategy or replacing modern technologies for those legacy technologies or like mainframes.
The benefits of embracing innovation and implementing new technologies are clear to see, and yet as we speak today in 2021, one could argue that there is still evidence to suggest that there is resistance and hesitance to take the risk of digital transformation. So why would an organisation be too afraid to embark on a digital transformation journey when there are seemingly endless cases of major successes for those that have done so already? Is there still resistance to change, or a case of risk averseness?
Yeah, so I think some of the biggest roadblocks are developing that clear strategy and committing to the strategy and then having the right people that can drive those efforts to success. So when you think about that organization that might be still on the mainframe who's talking about a migration to the cloud, those existing resources that support the mainframe may not have that expertise required to implement a cloud strategy. And around solutions like AI or machine learning, in those scenarios, you might not see instant value, but value returned over time as the solutions mature. So as we talk about, IT being kind of that business in transportation, in logistics, in the end, you really have to appreciate our core competency, which is transportation. So our special sauce is really knowing how to use that technology and enable business results and leveraging, the experience specifically at Schneider. I don't think technology advancements happen overnight, but require a practical and really measured approach to introducing innovations and the right people that can make it happen. So I think you do have to balance that risk, and maybe be willing to take that risk, and make the investment to drive this sort of strategy.
One of the defining traits that we hear when we explore the technology transformation conversation is agility, and how new solutions and processes will enable greater agility for businesses. But, as with any keyword or online search engine friendly headline, what exactly is agility? What does it mean to business? And why is it so important to transportation and logistics?
Yeah, so I think at Schneider, our success has really been dependent upon our ability to deliver value quickly and use agility to stay ahead of the market. So being able to iteratively develop and deploy applications and make, those iterative high quality changes to those applications continuously as the market changes really enables us as an enterprise to be able to react when our customers' needs change, or as the market changes. I think with agility, though, when you have an organization that has a lot of dependencies across all of their systems, that creates more complexity and prohibits, in some cases, the ability to be agile and to make those agile changes. So I see, that idea of agility is really great, but how do we help organizations get to a place where they can be agile when they're still on those legacy or mainframe technologies?
We've already touched upon the challenges that come with legacy infrastructure, with transition and change. So how can businesses cope with such a major shift? How can a business continue to perform while transforming?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the approach that we've taken is we'll stand up some of these new technologies, cloud deployments, in a cloud environment, and any new things, new strategies, new applications that we're developing, we're going to push towards that model. The goal would be over time, you're also taking a step back and looking at your traditional, on-premise applications and saying, where can we have opportunity to transition from our on-premise model to an in-cloud model, or where can we transform those applications to fit into that newer approach? So I think there's a way to take, all the new stuff and just draw a line in the sand and say everything we do from this point, let's go to this new model. And we can come back and we can look at our legacy applications in the meantime.
As much as we'd love to see it, there's no such thing as a guarantee of success. We often speak of successes and we look at what went right and how well they performed. But perhaps more importantly, we should call out when a company has maybe fallen short or has been in need of innovation. After all, does change come from recognizing there is a need to adapt and evolve?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So I think with agility comes that ability into your culture to be able to step back and talk about failures in a healthy way, and learn from them. And that's something that's hard. And I think that will be something that continues to be hard for a lot of people or a lot of organizations, but is really critical as you're implementing something to be in a position to look at all of those things that went well and all those things that didn't. And as you dig deeper into maybe some of those things that didn't go so well, I think there's opportunity there. And there's also the opportunity to say, well, maybe we didn't get the results or the value, a return on value that we were hoping to get at this point. But to be able to go faster in the future, we might have to go a little bit slower right now, because change is hard. I mean, it's not easy.
Digital transformation, disruption, and embracing innovation and change are no easy tasks. It's no secret that we all look to other organizations, other industries, and other people for inspiration, and we look for the big companies that are recognized as the benchmark for innovation. But when you are one of these companies and you are in an industry that has the label of falling behind the pace, how aware are you of your responsibility to help drive the industry forward? How much do you recognize yourself as a benchmark for others to follow? And what do you do with this responsibility?
Before we as an organization committed to adopting DevOps or to doing the next new thing, right? There's always a lot of that healthy speculation about, why would a trucking company need something like application release automation capabilities or a tool set like digital AI release and deploy, and rightfully so. And when those things become the buzz, I think that healthy speculation only grows. But in those cases, it really allows us to take a step back and build that case for change and show that real impact that could achieve, if we're able to make the investment and put in the effort and have the right people to help drive that value. So I think others should look at what we've done as a real world example. So not something out of a textbook or, something that people might read and say, well, that will only work for a startup, but something that is just real world example that they can see how it would fit into their world as well, and apply those principles like DevOps as part of our adoption. And also the value that we've gained and how it's just changed our ecosystem. So I think it's just something very relatable, instead of something that just seems more far-fetched, which, some of these things can feel that way.
So there we have it. Schneider is but one example of the many organizations, big or small, that are truly embracing innovation and disruption and are doing so in a way that will help propel their industries forward. Thank you for joining me again for another episode of The Digital Insight. Be sure to like, subscribe and leave a review wherever you access your podcasts, and we'll see you next time.